special broadcast. This is the laying to rest of Queen Elizabeth II, who we've just seen her funeral service at Westminster Abbey. And this procession now is quite literally taking her home to Wellington Arch and then from there Windsor Castle, where she'll be interred next to her whole family, her husband Philip of many, many years, her sister Margaret, and of course her parents. There'll be a special service a little bit later on, but I know that many of you have been wanting to share your thoughts, and we're going to get to your calls now because we'd like to speak first of all to author and commentator Victor Khomeswana. Victor, thanks so much indeed for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, Peter.
What are your thoughts about the late Queen's relationship with the continent and the Caribbean as well?
After 70 years as the Queen, one can only pay respect and tribute and say condolences to all the affected people, the royal family, Great Britain, the United Kingdom, and people in the Commonwealth countries and all the other people who have or identified with the Queen and the royal family. But as an African, I can only remember and I can only speak from the perspective of the Commonwealth and what it has done and what it continues to do to the economy of the continent, because the arrival of the British in Africa was a conquest. It was an economic exploration that led to a conquest to expand the British Empire. So one can only hope that Prince Charles, now King Charles III, will bring the human face to this empire and bring more compassion to the aristocracy to make sure that the legacy of his mother and of those kings and queens that came before her can be turned into something with a human face. And by that I mean the impact of British imperialism and colonialism on the African continent has to be reversed. It has to be mitigated. It has to be somehow fixed. And I believe, if anything of a legacy that we can expect from King Charles III, it should be, if I were to advise him, I would say, you have always expressed your sorrow and regret about how colonialism has damaged the world of Africa. Show that you are really sorry in that sense by fixing some of the damage. And it shouldn't be that difficult to fix.
Victor, it's Sophie speaking. I just want to find out, in terms of monetary terms, this house, the contribution to the GDP of the United Kingdom, how will you describe it? And secondly, you spoke about Prince Charles, whom you expect to do things differently and reach out to the former colonies. He brought his sons to Lesotho, and we saw them mingling and interacting with head boys and also the shepherds on the mountains wearing those Basotho blankets. As SADC, particularly those countries that were colonized by this family and the leadership thereof, how do we handle this now? Because you could see the grandchildren, they want to reach out, and that is why Harry is trending and Meghan is trending on the continent, because there's some relationship. As I pointed out, Prince Harry, a friend of King Seiso, Beren Seiso, and William, the friend to Litsi Elaborado.
And that's exactly the point, Sophie. Hello. And that's the point. I'm a South African. I know the big Kimberley, the big hole in Kimberley. Filling that is not just a physical act, it's also a financial act. The Brits took a lot out of that hole, a lot out of Kimberley, a lot of diamond mining, and this is only one aspect of what the empire did to South Africa. Zimbabwe, we still haven't reckoned with the Lancaster House Agreement, exactly what the UK should have done to help the land reform process in there. The copper belt in Zambia. Now, I can go on and on, but all I'm seeing is, yes, I hope that Prince Harry, Prince Charles, and Prince William and their wives were not just engaging in PR here. They were really wanting to understand Africa. And in the words of their father, they were wanting to understand the damage brought to this part of the world. I just finished reading the book by Tembeka Toby, The Land is Ours. Just the methods that were used by the Brits to take land from Africans. Those are not things you can just say, hey, let's move on. And I believe that they were not just mixing with the young people of Lesotho and Eswatini, wherever they went to, they were trying to understand so that we can start serious talks about reparation here. Because until we fix the mess that was made in the name of the expansion of the British Empire, there will always be people who point a finger. And I cannot point a finger at the Queen now. She's gone. Her time is done. Whatever I wanted her to do, she can't do now. And she's played a part, but I'm sure that the royal family has an obligation to the people of Africa and to the legacy of the aristocracy and the royal household to make sure that they fix some of the damage they brought onto the world.
Victor, it's Nompu here. We know that the Commonwealth was established, as the transition from empire to the Commonwealth took place under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. Do you view the Commonwealth as having had any positive impact on the nation states that have been part of it, including the African states? Or do you view it more as having been more of window dressing? It says that it was established to achieve the collective goals of peace and prosperity. Do you think that has not necessarily met up to scratch?
No, that's the simple answer. I don't know what the Commonwealth is trying to achieve, honestly. And judging by how the leaders of the Commonwealth countries are doing, how they are behaving, how decisive or not they are, I have no clue what the Commonwealth is meant to accomplish. Except it's an alliance, they say by free association or voluntary association. It's an alliance of people, if we can be crude, who share the abuse history. It's almost like we were all abused by the same person and we belong to the club. Because remember, there's La Francophonie, which is the French Commonwealth. Again, what these commonwealths are supposed to do, I don't know. It doesn't mean they are useless, though. They can be put to good use. And that's why I believe that King Charles III can use exactly the Commonwealth and ask the Commonwealth countries, what kind of activity program can be put in place to fix that which was destroyed or damaged by the British Empire?
All right, let's get a caller in. Victor, we asked you to stay on because we're going to obviously ask you some more questions, great perspectives coming from you. But we've asked our viewers to call in, and first caller we've got is Sylvia. Sylvia's from Cape Town. So, Sylvia, a very good afternoon to you. Thanks so much for calling in to us. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking after you've watched this whole procession and the service that took place today? Sylvia, are you live? Good afternoon.
Hello.
Oh, is it Ruan? I beg your pardon.
Gordons Bay.
Hi, Ruan, I beg your pardon. Sorry, we thought it was Sylvia. Ruan, nice to have you.
Yes, I'm from Gordons Bay in Cape Town, where the electricity is off. But luckily I can see the last part of the ceremony, yes.
What did you feel?
Of a funeral.
What did you think of it?
I think it's wonderful. I just want to give my condolences to all the royal family people. She was a beautiful lady.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you've been able to catch...
I will always remember her because she was a lady in the best I ever can tell you.
Yeah. It's great that you were able to catch at least a little bit of it. And, well, the good news is at least we've been downgraded to stage 5, if that's good news. We'll take anything at this point. But, yeah,
thank you so much.
Stay with us.
Have a nice day.
And you, Ruan, thanks for calling in.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right. It looks like they've arrived at Wellington
Indeed.
Arch now, which is a key moment. Because from here now, the procession, the walking part has come to an end, and the Queen's coffin will now be taken on a hearse to Windsor Castle. And we shouldn't underestimate just how long this walk is, Nompu, to Wellington Arch from Westminster Abbey.
Yeah, they were hoping it would be about 45 minutes, but it was
A lot
closer
longer.
to, I think, an hour and 15 minutes, actually. But it's done. The deed is done. That is Wellington Arch, where the Queen's hearse, her coffin, will be transferred to a hearse and her and the royal party will make their way to Windsor Castle, where she's ultimately going to be laid to rest later on this evening.
Amazing. I mean, just to actually see how they were welcomed there. Of course, the Queen Consort was standing right there alongside all of the princesses, and also the little great-grandchildren as well that were there alongside, waiting to see the coffin being put into that hearse. And as it moves to Windsor Castle, because this is now the next part of the journey, and there, of course, is King Charles III, looking very somber at this point. And the whole occasion, and one is reading and hearing some of the thoughts that we're feeling that are coming through at this time, is that it is a very somber occasion that we're witnessing here as this does happen. So from here, they're then going to move to Windsor Castle, which has, you know, just to give you a little bit of background, it's continuously inhabited by 40 monarchs across almost 1,000 years, and it had special significance to the Queen throughout her life. As a teenager, she was sent to the castle during the war years as London faced the threat of bombing, and more recently, she made it her permanent home during the coronavirus pandemic.